Anyway, with Phil Brooks,
His name is not Phil Brooks, it's CM Punk. How many times do I have to repeat this to you? I'm sick and tired. What the hell's that?
I don't know.
I think somebody's at the door.
Hey. You can't even film stuff without people knocking.
Well, you know, that's the way of the world. Who is it?
But don't start personally insulting me.
Huh?
But don't start personally insulting me.
Hannibal! Oh, no! Not that way!
Monty the Pharaoh, only seen out of here. I'm Indie Music TV out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board, super producer Matthew Ice. Matthew, how'd you like that Outback Jack interview?
You liked it.
It was, yeah, I really liked it. It was
good guy.
Really entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting
really
man.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
That's one thing I like about these shows. We just get in depth about life and just understand the person.
You know what was depressing though?
What's that?
He's from Australia,
right?
And he thinks that the Outback Steakhouse in America stinks.
It does stink.
It does not stink.
Fucking terrible.
I'm raised on chicken McNuggets. This is all right. Whatever. I like Outback.
You know, I'm going to ask our guest once we come out of commercial break what he thinks about the Pharaoh, who is still surviving on McDonald's, which is in itself is a miracle.
I am a miracle.
You are.
I am.
You've lived on McDonald's your whole life.
I defy every
breakfast,
rule.
lunch, and dinner,
and non-filtered cigarettes.
By the way, there's a movie.
Don't try to fight me.
Hold on.
I will fuck you up.
There's a movie that's called Super Size Me, right?
Thank you, Kevin.
Super Size Me.
Yeah, so I saw that.
All right. What the guy does is he takes his blood work.
No, that's bad.
Before he starts.
Yeah.
And it's normal.
Yeah.
He takes a Pharaoh diet of breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's.
Correct.
But a month later,
yeah,
the doctor's like, you're going to die.
You know what's amazing? I put myself on that test. 6 months later,
you're still around.
I'm still working out for an hour every day. I'm still plowing the ladies in a respectful way that they can dig. I'm doing
plowing.
Yeah, well, the ladies that I know respect.
The Pharaoh loves to.
They respect.
Pharaoh
that
loves
term.
to talk about his sexual endeavors.
I do not.
You know,
listen.
Where I can honestly say, at my age, I could give a shit.
Yeah, well, you know, the bigger the talk, usually the smaller the stalk, but not in this case. What can I say?
There's one thing. There's a couple things you could count on, right? There's.
Yeah, we have a legend sitting over here.
You got Cher, right?
Yeah, what about
nuclear war?
Cher was gross.
If nuclear war happened,
that video on the ship, gross.
If nuclear war happened,
gross.
If nuclear war happened,
yeah,
gross. What are you talking about?
Cher was gross on that stupid
You're out of your
video
mind.
with that stupid skinny
anyway,
ass. That looks stupid. That's no porn star.
It looks like World War III's imminent.
Okay, I agree.
If World War III happens, there's some things that will survive. Cher
will agree.
Keith
Richards.
Cockroaches.
Keith Richards and Bob Dylan will survive.
Cockroaches.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the Pharaoh.
I will live forever.
All right, Pharaoh. Spongy moth.
Yes, what?
The new name for the gypsy moth, because scientists have been working on changing an invasive moth's common name, which included an ethnic slur.
Why do you give this
the
to
gypsy
me?
moth? Now it is to be called the spongy moth.
What,
because gypsy moth is offensive.
Well, wait a minute. On
Why is gypsy moth offensive if the world heavyweight champion is the Gypsy King, the boxer?
Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, go ahead.
From what I understand,
Tyson Fury.
From what I understand
rules?
is
Go
that
ahead.
the word gypsy.
Yeah.
What?
Again, fans don't hold me against this because
Okay.
I'm answering this legend. He's got me
Yeah.
on the spot here. so I'm not
Legitimate
an
question
expert.
from the Dungeon Master.
Bulgarian
right?
people find it very offensive to call someone a gypsy.
Well, Bulgarians, there's Irish gypsies, which Tyson is the king of.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
from history, the word gypsy means Egyptian, that people thought that gypsies were Egyptian.
Sure.
So,
Right.
does that
I think
lean-
legitimately, Kevin, to be honest with you,
What?
is
Gypsies
we just
are
shouldn't talk to
dwellers.
each other anymore.
Yeah.
No one will get offensive. If we just
Right.
don't talk,
Might
we'll
be better.
fine.
Right.
Well, something popped into my mind when he said plowing the ladies.
Go ahead.
The last time I was ever behind a plow was in front of a mule when I had a farm, and the ass was that big of the mule. So, Pharaoh, do you need some hay delivered to the house?
I know. I tend to know how to bale my hay rather sufficiently.
Farrell,
Yes.
wait. So,
What?
Kevin,
What?
look, I'm going to
I
be
bet
100%
Kevin was a
honest.
plower himself back in the day. but
Sex
let's
has
not-
gone past me a while ago.
Would you
like,
stop
I could care less.
saying this?
And with all
Don't
due respect,
say
I'm not going
this.
to put you on the spot, but it's
Kevin,
like,
Hey,
Help me
you-
out.
do you
if
think
I
this-
was hunting in the woods and I saw a naked lady,
Yeah.
and I asked her if she was game, I might shoot her. So
Thank you.
I know what you mean.
Thank you. I agree.
What
I
is
agree.
going on here? What happened to
Procreation
you?
is not on my mind.
What happened to your skin flute? This is unfortunate. This really is.
No, what it has to.
I don't
Again,
understand
we
this.
all understand that Farrah has this reputation, and
Yes,
that
I
he
do.
wants to uphold that reputation.
I don't have to
But
uphold it.
I got to
do
be
uphold
honest
it.
with you. With
What?
all the McDonald's that you eat and the
Yeah.
pizza and all the other
That's
bullshit,
right.
you put,
Yeah.
I have to kind of feel like the penis isn't getting a decent blood flow.
No, it's not. But I counteract it with a lot of isometrics.
Listen, you do
A
everything
lot
wrong.
of you know isometrics. A lot of an hour and a half a night of isometrics allows the stability to counteract the fact that McDonald's is clogging my penile factor. Are you happy? Are you happy? You got the breakdown. I'm still good.
I don't believe
found
it.
a way.
I don't believe
You
it.
don't have to believe it.
You're
but
smoking
I go,
cigarettes.
Do you want
you eat
witnesses to
McDonald's,
call in?
Your blood flow for your
to
penis.
testify for the Pharaoh's rod? Is that what you need?
I don't know how you're doing it.
I know exactly who
No,
I can
don't call her, please.
I'm telling you right
Please.
now. I'm telling you. Anyway, let's keep this a family show. Move on.
Let's move on. If
Move
you didn't
on.
know
We
it,
have a
that is the
legend.
star of the show, Mr.
Where?
Jimmy Farrow.
Oh, right here.
Jimmy
Hi, guys.
Jimmy,
How are you?
We want to
How are you?
thank the band that sings the
Hi.
theme song for Monty the Pharaoh and Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs.
Who? Bartman!
Make up the band
That's
to
right.
Wisteria Hall. You
That's
can catch
right.
Wisteria Hall songs
That's
such
right.
as "In My Dreams," "This
Right.
Life," "Not Far Beyond," "Here Comes the Rain." Find their music on the Wisteria Hall YouTube page.
Thank you. Thank you. Find it. Subscribe. Like.
What you could have done with this guy
Yeah.
back in the day,
I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
if you just would have known him.
Right, Kevin?
Exactly.
Right? I'm dark. I could have been part of the dungeon. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I could have guided all the fans how to use
If you
their
would have
staff
came out, if you would have
accordingly.
came out of the dressing room with the dungeon,
I'd make him eat a McDonald's Happy Meal and take the toy out and play with it.
I think I would have killed the gimmick with it. One bite out of a chicken McNugget, but that's a whole other story.
if you didn't know, you were watching Long Island Subway Pro Wrestler broadcast Monty DeFaro. See us
here.
on the Monty DeFaro
See that?
YouTube page, the Monty
Number
DeFaro
one.
Facebook
This
Live
guy.
page. Hear us on the iHeart Radio, Spotify, Anchor, and the Monty DeFaro Twitch TV page. And if you're lucky enough, channel 115, catch us on a Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturday at 11:30 p.m. against Saturday Night Live.
Head to head.
Where over 83,000 people watch us daily
Yep.
on the cable network.
Mention the all-night burners at
Right.
1 o'clock.
Where you get to watch and see this legend, Mr. Kevin Sullivan, who's our guest in studio.
That's right.
And if anyone didn't know it, you are watching the number 8 most watched pro wrestling broadcast in the world.
It's a big world.
And considering you got Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Yeah.
Jim Ross,
Disco Inferno and Conan.
whatever. But you know
know?
what? They're lucky enough to have that little advance
Right.
on us for a bunch
Right.
of, from a guy who eats McDonald's and
Yeah.
a fat slob. It's
Yeah,
not too
what?
bad.
You're not a fat slob. And by the way, Disco Inferno was a guest on our show and got the idea, hey, maybe I should do a show.
That is true. That's bullshit. We'll
That's
talk about Kevin
a
about
fact.
that too.
That's a
That
fact.
fucking guy steals shit.
Yeah, leave Disco
Anyway,
alone.
we'll be right back
He's cool.
with the co-host with Andrew Anderson,
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin Sullivan in the dungeon that's on his network, and along that, need I say, the greatest booker in the history of pro
I would
wrestling.
have to go with that.
I'll
yeah.
go with that, too.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
be
see
right
you in
back.
a second. Andrew Anderson, in the meantime, is guarding Ace Frehley. See you in
You
a
just
moment.
can't get off the Ace
I'm
Frehley.
pissed. I want Ace on the show. See you in a second.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
All right, welcome
wait,
back
wait
to
a
Long
second.
Island's
How many-
number one pro wrestler broadcast, Monty Nefaro, where we're joined by the
us.
legend, Mr. Kevin Sullivan. And by the way, if I could share with the fans, why not? Farrell was thanking Mr. Kevin Sullivan
Yes,
for
I
the
was.
divorce talk they had over dinner during the summertime. I didn't hear that. What'd you guys
You
talk
are
about?
such a douchebag.
What is-
Why are you fucking bringing up my personal shit? All right, fine. You got me drunk. Fine, fuck you. It goes something like this. I recently, unfortunately, had a divorce situation with somebody I adored.
Right.
And Kevin, brought me back to reality and helped me through it during a
I
wonderful
taped up
steak
his
dinner.
wrist, Mike. I taped up his wrist.
What was that?
I taped your wrist up.
Yeah, he taped my wrists up and he toughened me up.
So
and
what did you,
You
tell
know,
him about divorce?
he
I
was-
want to
I-
hear
I told
advice
him-
from Kevin
What are you
Sullivan on
doing?
divorce.
This is rough.
I
Go
told
ahead,
him
Kevin.
that,
Go ahead.
it will pass. It's like everything else,
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Buddhist monastery on the island, and they come down and they paint these beautiful things with rocks and different colors. And as soon as people come down and they pick up their donations, of course, they spread the rocks around and throw them in the water, saying that nothing lasts forever. So pain goes away, happiness goes away. It's all, karma, basically. And I saw Vampiro, who was very interesting on the show, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Very,
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
by the way. I
Yeah, he
agree.
was. I loved his show.
He really made some very unique points.
Unique. Well,
Yeah.
well put.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very intellectual, I have to say.
Yeah.
He's on the level like you, very
Well,
intellectual.
to be honest, as far as personal goes, I mean, taking advice from somebody who was married to Nancy, and the things that Kevin experienced, I took his word seriously, and it's helped me. So that's
nothing wrong with
I
it.
mean, he
I'm
was
just
so
saying.
kind to me. I mean, I grew up watching him, and here's this fellow who I grew up watching talking to me about my real personal situation. I really appreciated it, and he helped me out a lot. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff.
Yep. Now, do you have anything like you want to ask him about arm bars, or you want to continue asking him about
No,
my
what I
divorce?
actually want to ask,
What
I
the
really
fuck?
what I want to know,
Go ahead.
Kevin's thoughts about
Oh no.
what's happening in the world with Russia,
And Sleepy
COVID.
Joe.
Can you let me
It
answer
says
questions?
Sleepy Joe here. Go ahead, Sleepy Joe.
What did I tell you was going to happen?
Right,
Keep
I-
feeding him wine.
Hey,
It'll never
it
end.
says- Kevin, it says Sleepy Joe right here. Could you tell us about your thoughts?
Okay,
on
we'll
Sleepy
ask again.
Joe?
Kevin, Russia invading,
Yeah.
COVID-19, Sleepy Joe. Biden. Thoughts?
Oh boy.
Russia invading. I'm not smart enough to really get into it, but I'll say this.
Okay.
Kiev was the first capital of Russia.
Interesting.
The
Okay.
80% of the northern part of the Ukraine, their first language is Russian.
Okay.
Should they have invaded? Of course not.
Okay.
I don't think the thing that's been brought up is the oil, the pipeline. It's kind of been pushed aside. I don't think with how vast Russia is, and you got to remember how many people they lost during World War One and especially World War Two. There's a generational gap.
Sure.
They don't have the workforce anymore. I think that he is like most dictators. They get power hungry. They get money mad. And I just don't want us to send troops over there. We have already, you know, they're on guard. But I don't want to see us get into another quagmire like Afghanistan or Vietnam.
It's a fine line, Kevin. You say dictator. When you say dictator, obviously I think about Hitler or Stalin.
Yeah.
Is Putin a man of peace? He wants a piece of Croatia. He wants a piece of Ukraine. I mean, do we have to do something to stop him? I mean, I know you don't want us to be involved, and I understand that, but does it get to the point where you have to recognize the dictator for what he is, or where are we at?
I think it's going to happen because if you look at it and go back in history, it's very similar to Hitler annexing Czechoslovakia.
Right.
Then Austria.
We know what he did to Poland.
Yeah,
Right.
where they allowed them to come in, you know,
Right.
on open arms, and then Poland.
Right.
They had the non-aggression pact with England.
Are you surprised at Europe's unity right now? Because I personally am. Are you surprised that Europe has denounced him and that even China has abstained? Now, it doesn't mean that they've picked a side, but the fact that they've abstained.
The one that shocked me the most was Switzerland.
Okay.
Switzerland was the banking capital for the Nazi regime.
Right.
Switzerland has remained neutral during the first two world wars. They put sanctions on them. So I think, too, that the European Union have pushed Europe closer to the United States, meaning they're on the same currency. Like, I went the last year, went to Europe because they were all on the same money, and I wanted to see that. So if you have the same money, you're not escaping from one place to another because the cost of living is so much cheaper or the cost of living is so much higher. But
Wait a minute, are you trying to say that you believe in the New World Order?
do I believe in the New World Order?
Or is it just the fact that it's happening?
It's just the fact that I think it's a way to relieve, and I don't know if that New World Order or Illuminati, this is just my opinion again. You think they're going to let Beyonce in West in the Illuminati, especially West? I mean, I don't see that. If there is a control of families, it's the richest of the world, and as rich as they are, they're nowhere near as rich as some of the old European countries that have been making money since the 1400s. But if they don't do something to stop them, and it looks like there's a ceasefire now, right?
Right.
I don't think he may have the backing of the troops either, because he supposedly, you know, next to us is the most powerful country in the world. Maybe there's demonstrations at home now, which they don't usually allow, but it's overwhelming. I think people are saying, what's going on for the first time over there? It was like, remember Tiananmen Square in China, where all the revolt? I think people in this day and age are getting tired of sending the young kids to war.
Sure.
You know, how many people in Congress back in the days of Vietnam's kids served in Vietnam?
Right.
The only two I can think of, and I'm sure I don't have them all, was McCain and Kerry. If they're going to go to war, send their kids. But I do think there got to be a line drawn, and they say to them, and it has to be a combined NATO or Europe and the United States and Canada and everybody else in the world to say, if you cross this line, we're not making another line. Something's going to happen. And I think what I've read is the sanctions are starting to hurt the oligarchs quite a bit. Their stock market has plummeted to the bottom. So I think he's not getting the support in Russia like he thought he was going to get. So it's going to be interesting.
What does the Dungeon Master think about Israel's role in world politics? Because the previous president before Trump, Barack Obama, said that I want to create daylight between us and Israel, yet the next president put the embassy in Jerusalem. Do you feel that that's as far as the perception towards Israel? Because I've heard many times, oh, Israel runs the world, the Jews run the world because they're the ones with the money and they know how to do the money. Is that more racial?
Yeah, I think it is. And I also think
Thank you.
They use them as scapegoats.
I agree. Thank
And
you.
I also think that before England brought in 600,000 Middle European Jews into Palestine, they didn't have a problem
Right.
because they both spoke each other's languages.
Right.
They were neighbors.
Right.
But again, the division starts. And we're tribal. I was talking to, you mentioned Outback Jack. His wife has traveled the world extensively. Very smart lady. And she's from South Africa. She was there at apartheid. And she was saying how it doesn't matter, it shows that we're tribal because the Tutsis came down and burnt half of South Africa, came down, separating people there where the blacks and whites couldn't go to school. I think we're a tribal society, and I think that's what kind of causes problems.
Right.
And I think that Putin maybe wants to get back the Soviet Union, which they once had, whether it was Albania or Romania, all those countries. Maybe he thinks he's the grand peacemaker in his head. We don't know because we don't really know much about Putin. It was just what we're fed from the media, former KGB.
Sure.
I think the guy's a little bit more complicated than that.
I agree. Is Christianity, according to the Dungeon Master, is Christianity under attack? Because when you really think about the major religions in this world, Christianity is the one religion where the main central figure, Jesus himself, never called for abuse or hatred or violence towards another belief or aspect. Do you feel that Christianity is under attack?
Well, it's most Russians are Orthodox Catholic.
Okay.
Putin goes to church every day.
Okay.
Obviously, he's not getting the message. You know what I mean? So
Agreed.
he opened churches back up when he took power, because whether it's a show or not, he's supposedly this devout Orthodox Catholic. So I don't think Christianity is going to be attacked by Russia.
Okay.
Maybe some other country,
Right.
but I don't see it from the Russians.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let me switch gears on this.
Sure.
Do a little pro wrestling talk. So
Yeah.
You love to talk about pro wrestling, but I have to know from the greatest, in my opinion, and the show's opinion, the greatest booker of all time.
Absolutely.
In professional wrestling.
Absolutely. Oh no, not this guy. Hit it.
What is the deal with pro wrestling now? When they're promoting a guy, and look, be honest and tell me if I'm wrong, a guy like Hook is now being promoted as a professional wrestler, as a top professional wrestler. What does a great booker like yourself think about Hook?
Does size matter anymore, or is it just the effectiveness of the gimmick? Because Hook is an effective gimmick, but does size matter
Wait a
anymore?
minute, wait, hold on. Why is it an effective gimmick? Because 600 700,000 people are marking out
Fair.
for it.
Fair.
I think
What makes Hook work?
I think you made a good point. Size has almost disappeared.
Right.
It's almost a negative thing.
Correct. Correct. Is
I-
that good for pro wrestling?
In my opinion, they should do like UFC does. They
Okay.
should have a heavyweight division, a
Okay.
light heavyweight, maybe
Okay.
all the way down to a welterweight.
So if you
But-
were
but-
booking, you would make different divisions.
But Kevin,
then?
Yeah.
you were not Hulk Hogan size yet. You felt like a heavyweight. So what is wrong with what's
Well, wait a
going
minute,
on
hold
right now?
At
He
your,
felt like
at,
a
your
heavyweight.
at your heaviest weight, you were a huge guy.
He
What were
always
you
felt
were like
like a
230, right?
260.
There you go.
260.
There
That's
you
a
go.
heavyweight.
So what
That's
do you
a
see when
heavyweight.
you see Hook? He cannot be 200 pounds.
Well, it's like I'll give you what I say about that. If we didn't have a baseball season this year,
All right. Which we may not,
Yeah.
the way these idiots are going, but go
but
ahead.
maybe we don't have one. And the only team they field is a single egg ball team.
All right.
After 2 years, we go to the ball game, and we'll say the kid's name is Willie Mays, okay? And
I've
he's
heard of him.
but he's a second baseman.
Okay.
And it's 14 games in the season. After a few years, we turn and say, hey, he's not a bad second baseman, is he? He's only made 17 errors. It's all what you see.
So we're conditioned to accept what we're given.
It's Pavlov's dog. And
What do you think about Hook when you see Hook? What have you seen Hook?
yes, I have.
What do you think?
I do.
He's not even Taz size. I mean, Taz was to me. I don't understand why they scrubbed Taz. To be honest, when he got to WWE, he felt like a heavyweight. What does Hook feel like to you when
Well,
you see him?
You
Can
hit,
you buy it?
yeah, because you hit the nail on the head. The guys are much smaller, so he's
Right.
got athletic moves.
Oh, he's great. I'm not saying he's not.
But he's not going in the ring with his father.
Okay.
He's not going in the ring with
Okay.
Hulk Hogan.
right.
He's going into the ring with guys his size, maybe
Right.
a little bigger,
Right.
some a little smaller. So the perception isn't there anymore.
So you're telling me AEW is playing a small man game and they're keeping it small to make him look? Because what I'm trying to say is, if a guy like Hook wanted to eventually translate to the WWE, it's not
Right.
possible
How
because
do
when
you-
he's up against a Randy Orton, it's
Right.
like the size difference is.
Can
forget
you
about
see
it.
Hook if he's booked the same way in AEW as he? Let's say he got to WWE and he's booked the same way. Is he going to get over against Randy Orton?
Does anybody really, except we'll say the Randy and Roman Reigns and Brock, does
Right.
anybody get over anymore in
Thank you.
WWE?
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Is there something wrong with Vince's ideology of getting people over? Now that you've nailed it, Randy, Roman, Brock.
Okay,
Is there something wrong with Vince's ideology currently with what's going on in the big C?
let me just change that question a little. for
All
you.
right. Okay.
Is, to me, as an older guy, right?
Right.
The game has changed. You're an older guy. Is Roman Reigns the only guy over, and is he falling into that John Cena, Hulk Hogan,
I don't think Roman is.
Bruno Sammartino
Roman's
category?
different than John.
I think it's a lot harder. I forget who said this, but it was they were talking about going to see Angel. What's his name? The magician.
Oh, Chris Angel.
Chris Angel, yeah.
Chris Angel.
Well, he levitates. Mm-hmm. But they don't put the lights on the wires or whatever.
Right. Right.
Not only do we put the lights on, we have someone coming out and polishing
Right.
the wire.
Right.
So that's the other thing is they've been ingrained to look at wrestling now as an art performance. So, I mean, if we're about the size thing, look at Rambo and Rocky. You know what I mean? Remember with the movie with Hulk and him.
Sure.
You saw how small he really was.
Sure.
And it kind of threw you back. It threw me back.
Right.
But we were in that era.
But I still believed Rocky had a chance.
Yeah, but if you looked at it, and you
Didn't
look
you?
at it,
Yeah.
if you look at it currently,
Mm-hmm.
to us that were at that time, said, "Holy shit, he's not as big as I thought he was." But that's why where I'm going with this is, you keep on feeding a product out
Mm-hmm.
there, and after a while, they either go away or they accept the product.
Is Tony Khan legitimate competition for Vince in your mind?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay,
Why?
tell me why.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
we
you
need
what.
to know why.
Tell me
Okay.
why.
You hit it on the head when you said Cena, Roman Reigns, all those guys.
Right. Right.
He doesn't want people going to see those guys individually.
Okay.
He wants to see you go
The
see
wrestling.
WWE.
Right.
Interesting.
He's
okay.
branding it,
Right.
and he's branding it much harder than he ever has.
Right.
And he says he's not going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
More people that say they're not going to do something when they're in that position usually end up doing what they say they're not going to do.
Okay. When you see that the independent, I'm sure you've seen the internet and the comments made.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the independent Mark who said Vince is only entertainment, but yet in AEW we've got a guy who keeps his hands in his pockets? Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
And will not take his hands out of his pockets. He's built like my tennis instructor, yet somehow he's at the top of the card. You don't see that as slightly hypocritical towards the attack towards Vince McMahon? How about when we get good wrestling matches on WWE and nobody ever says a word?
It's because we love to tear down successful people in this country.
Okay, fair
and
enough.
Then, and then build them
Nailed.
up.
That's it.
Nailed.
We want to take them down,
Nailed.
and we
Right.
want them to rise like the phoenix
Is
from the ashes.
beautiful.
And the best one ever
Okay.
is Muhammad Ali.
Beautiful.
I
They used
love
to
it.
boo him out of the building.
Right.
And then he became, Gandhi, for Christ's
Right.
sakes.
So George Foreman and George Frazier are AEW. And Muhammad Ali is WWE. Am I fair to say that?
At that time, yeah.
Bingo,
All right,
bullseye.
so
Thank you.
I think I'm going to approach you as Booker Man from now on. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna
He
call
is
you Booker
Booker
Man.
Man. He's the Booker
Rumors
Man.
of Cody Rhodes going to the WWE, or is this a work?
No.
by
Please tell me he's
AEW?
coming to
Tell
Vince.
me what the
Whoa,
Booker
wait.
Man says is really
Please
happening.
tell me he's
I
coming to
think-
Vince. Please.
I think he's the first defector.
He's coming to Vince.
And I think he's very smart.
Is
His
Vince going to take care of him?
Hold on.
Yes. His father was very, very smart.
There we go. Okay.
This kid, young man now, would not make a move
Right. Right.
unless he had things on paper.
Right. Right.
He's going to get a huge salary.
You will.
He's going to have
No Stardust, correct?
no Stardust.
Thank you.
He's going to have his say in finishes. He's going to also have say on the creative end.
He's
of it.
earned it,
He-
right?
Yeah. He.
Thank you.
But still
Thank
feed him.
you.
But still feed him to Roman.
No! Do not feed him to Raw. He's going to win a world title against the Lashley, correct?
No, they're going to have to.
He's going to beat Roman?
They're going to. Here's.
I don't see
Hold
that.
on.
Okay. Here's why.
Hit it.
What is The Rock now? What is Cena now?
Absolute legends involved
No.
in
What are
Hollywood.
they? What are they doing now?
Hollywood.
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 Linda almost broke her neck the first time she saw Roman Reigns. She looked like Linda Blair.
Wow.
Her head turned around.
So she's like, this
Yeah.
guy's going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said, "Who's that?
Right.
He's
Right.
a Hollywood star.
Right. Right.
He's got it all. He's got charisma. He looks like a movie star."
I want them to make him the greatest
I don't want him to lose the belt.
heavyweight
We talked about this.
champion of all.
How great would it be if
Let-
Roman held the belt for 7 years?
Let me. It would be great, but let me tell you what I also think.
Okay.
How old's The Rock now?
In his 40s.
He's in his 40s, like
He's
48 or
getting
so.
closer to 50.
He's getting close to 50.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Do you remember the movie where Schwarzenegger and when The Rock first started coming on, and they bumped into each other at the start of the movie?
Yep.
And he said, "Hey, you're doing a good job."
Right.
He's going to pass the torch to Roman.
He's gonna pass the Roman.
Interesting.
He's got a production company.
Now hold on. The Rock, if he does wrestle Roman Reigns at a WrestleMania, he should put over Roman Reigns.
That will
correct?
never happen.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
That will never
He
happen.
no,
knows.
but no, he just said it will never happen.
What do you mean it'll never
He
happen?
said it will
happen.
never
What?
happen.
The Rock is going to wrestle Roman Reigns and win?
And win.
No, he's not.
He's just not going to do
Or
it
you
at
don't
all.
think it's not gonna happen?
will never happen.
Why would they not pull that trigger, Kevin? Tell me why.
I think I saw where Rock made $826,000 in movies.
So The Rock, if he puts Roman Reigns over, is actually thinking to
No,
himself, I might hurt
think
my
what
own
Kevin,
career?
What you're saying, Kevin, is the match
What?
is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
But why, though? Is The Rock
He's
thinking
making
if I put Roman over?
$826,000 as a action hero.
But hold on,
Right.
I'm going to challenge you with this
Right.
question.
Okay.
So if anyone
Okay.
doesn't know, by the way, I have the utmost respect for this gentleman that's sitting on
Absolutely.
the couch.
Absolutely.
Not only forget about the wrestling
Oh,
end of it. This
please.
guy's a great human being. all right.
I can go with that.
But my question to him was off screen was,
All right.
why do this, bro? You got
That's
cash.
true,
Yeah.
too.
And what Kevin Sullivan said to Monty was, you know what? I don't get to see the same amount of people. It's kind of fun. So I question you this. The Rock's making money. That's great. But he's going to go back to his roots. Why wouldn't
He's
he do
gotta
what Kevin
come back
Sullivan's
event-
doing?
Because he's in a different ballpark.
To never come back to
He
the
ain't-
thing that launched him?
Well, do you think Austin's really going to wrestle?
No.
No, I don't. I
No.
said it on the show.
Okay,
I
so-
said until I see it, I won't believe it.
And I see him coming down and giving somebody a stunner.
Right.
But
Right.
all The Rock has to do is come out and say, "Can
But-
you smell?"
I want,
Here's what I
just
don't
want-
get
hold on,
about
one
The
real
Rock,
quick
though.
thing, couple fan comments. I think
Okay.
you should hear them. Mike Fry says, "Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, for entertaining me as a wrestling fan."
Absolutely.
What does that mean? Like just one individual thanking you. For
Do you
you
become-
changed his life?
Do you become numb to that? Because you
No,
must hear it all the time.
It made me realize that I did a good job, but we forget all the guys that put guys like me and other guys over.
Okay.
There were guys that didn't get the break. There were guys that politically weren't strong enough, meaning they didn't have, well, let's sit down and work this thing out better than that. But I don't see The Rock doing another wrestling match. First of all, the last time he wrestled, didn't he crack ribs?
True.
He can't get insurance now.
It's true. But here's the thing.
Wait a minute, you're going to do a movie and you're going to have The Rock and he's going to go wrestle, but the
Right.
last time he broke ribs
Right.
and they had to hold
Right.
up production for a month.
Understood.
Okay,
But here's
what,
what I
what do
don't-
you think? What do you think the cash stoppage of a month
It
on
must
a
have
movie
been a
set?
fortune. It must have been.
So is he going to take that
But
chance?
here's what I can't get past, and you know what? I'm going to go on record right now, and maybe I have in the past. The Rock's Hollywood career has been stellar. He has done a great job, but I stand by this. The greatest role, and I'm underlining and circling the word role, the greatest role The Rock has ever played, and I'm looking right at you folks, is The Rock. The wrestler. It's not the movies. Where's his Oscar? Where's his Citizen Kane? His greatest role ever
well,
was being The Rock. So come back, put your cousin over, and do the right thing. Is that so
get
outlandish?
Yeah, and get a chance of getting hurt and shutting down.
You're
a
correct.
Movie.
There's
I
the
understand
question.
that.
I
Too
understand
many
that.
people have too much invested in him. They don't
Yeah.
need him.
I understand.
Listen,
that.
I want to.
I get it.
I want to change
I
subjects.
submit. I get
want
it.
to change subjects because it is Monty Nefaro.
Yeah.
I knew you grew up in
What?
Boston.
Yeah.
Hit it.
Did you ever have a run-in with the famous mobster Whitey Bulger?
I grew up in South Boston.
Please
Do you
tell
know
that story.
You know Whitey? Mr. Bulger.
My brother had some dealings with them. You know about Dana White, what happened to Dana White. He opened up a martial art workout place. They came by and said, hey, you owe us $2,500. Have it tomorrow. They came by, he didn't have it. They called him that night and said, have $2,500. And he said, "Oh, what?" They said, "You're right. Oh, what?" He called and got a one-way ticket to Vegas.
He just picked up and left.
Yeah. I mean, it was a closed neighborhood. If you were Irish and not from South Boston, you had a tough time going in there. That was the last, we talked about tribal earlier.
Yeah.
That was a tribe. You know, if you ever see The Departed, one of the greatest lines in The Departed is when Matt Damon and Wahlberg have that conversation in the office with Sheen, and he said, "It must have been hard for you to change your South Boston accent to
Right.
Medford accent, wasn't it?" And that was the truth. I mean, to a lot of people there, he was Robin Hood. You know, the Johnny Depp movie where he got out and helped people.
Right.
I mean,
Are
and
you trying
then-
to tell me that there was some sort of goodness in a Whitey Bulger?
no, I don't think. I think he did it all for show.
Really?
What,
Yeah,
like
and,
Gotti?
hey, and
like
here's
John
the thing.
Gotti? Like, you know.
I think he
more
did it
show
for
than-
show, but here's the other thing that no one, they bring up once in a great while. When he's at Alcatraz, they fed him LSD as experiments. I mean, and that was real LSD, clinical LSD.
Right.
Who
Not
knows?
that I've had it, but okay.
No, who knows what happened to him? And then you got to look at the other side of the coin. Here's the mobster. His brother is the Speaker of the House of the State Senate. After he left the State Senate, he became president of UMass. He had the highest salary of any president of any college in the United States. I mean, you think when Whitey got pulled over anywhere he ever got a speeding ticket? Pulled him over for broken
Right.
light. I mean,
Right.
you got to realize too, it was a different era. You know what I mean? And everybody around him, they got, okay? It took them 25 years to catch him. Then they catch him in Santa Monica. There was sightings, yeah. There were sightings of him in London, Dublin, all of them.
Did he ever try to get a piece of you, right? Because you became a famous wrestler.
No,
Did he ever
because
get a
we
try
had
piece?
moved out. My family had moved out when I was very young.
Okay.
Do Whitey Bulgers or John Gotti's exist today?
I'm sure they exist, but I'm sure it's the corporate people that are the John Gottis and Whitey Bulgers.
They've learned how to manipulate social media. Is that
Yeah,
is that-
yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but I want you to think about this because it's a hard question. Fans are asking, and you know it's going to come up. Probably the most popular pro wrestling podcaster out there, Hannibal.
Probably.
Right.
Oh, I think you meant us. Never mind Hannibal.
Everybody understands the relationship you and the great Andrew Anderson have with him.
Right.
When we come off commercial break, we're going to ask you,
Okay.
what is your relationship with Hannibal? I want you to think about it. We're
Fair
going to
enough.
commercial break. The fans are asking. They want to know.
But most importantly, don't start personally insulting me. We'll be right back in a minute, folks, with the great Dungeon Master, Kevin Sullivan. See you in a second.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Start your own success.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you.
Elm Logistics, for all your logistic needs. Call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships. And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack. Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy Made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte DeFaro Senior here out of Indie Music TV. Fan says out there, I want to thank you, Mrs. Sullivan. I grew up watching you in Florida. Your battles with Dusty and the family are legendary.
Nice.
Great memories. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
That was nice of him.
I got to tell you, in a way, I'm envious of gentlemen like yourself because, you know what, I think when you have a life and you try to build your life, you want to make a difference. And it's, for a working schlub like myself, I can only make difference at a very small amount. But when guys like you make differences, like people like this all over the world that say thank you, you change their lives.
Yep.
Dude, that's got to feel great.
Well, you got to realize, I was in the ring with three of the greatest baby faces of all times. Barry Windham is so underrated. It's pathetic.
By the way,
Blackjack,
one of
We
my
love
top
Barry.
10 favorites of
We
all time.
love Barry.
Blackjack Mulligan,
There's two.
he talked him into the building. In the great Dusty Rhodes, all I had to do was hit him one time, and the building was ready to kill me.
But you were the great foil for those three gentlemen you spoke about.
I was the Joker to Superman, Batman, and
yeah.
the Flash.
There you go.
So
There you go.
let's get back to what the fans want to know.
Yep.
Okay? Tough question, and I understand it. Hannibal,
Yes.
very well-known podcaster who built his
I'm sorry.
he built his reputation on podcasting.
Yeah.
Fans want to know, what is your relationship with Hannibal?
I had a good relationship with Hannibal. I don't like to throw people under the bus.
Under the bus.
He was always gracious to me.
Okay.
He made a horrible, horrible mistake.
What was that?
The Spike incident. I mean,
Okay. Okay. That's pretty recent. Thoughts on that? Or-
it was one of those things that you can never take back. So, do I give him a pass? Because he was always good to me. I try in this stage of life
Right.
to say it's too late in the game to carry anger. It's too late in the game to be pissed off at people. I like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you can't on that one. There's no giving it a benefit of the doubt. He ruined what he had going for him. I'm sure he would like to take it back, but we all have to think before we do an action.
Why do you think he did that to that guy? Like, what do you think was going through his head?
I mean, I can't tell you what's going through his head because I don't know. But there's only two things you can think. Maybe he was impaired. And, that cost him his girlfriend, too. You know.
What do you mean, the Blaze thing?
Yeah, the Blaze. She left him right afterwards. He was going through a divorce.
Wait a minute, Blaze dumped him like right after that.
Yeah.
She was like, because she was getting harassed, I heard, over that whole
I don't
situation.
know if it was just that, but she was very upset that night.
Was that a work or a shoot? What
What?
was Hannibal's intentions during all of that?
See, there's the other thing. I think it was a shoot.
Okay.
But that referee kept on sending him things. I bleed. I'm a bleeder. I can do the hard way. Well, that would be like telling me to send that to Ming. Hey, brother, hit me the hard way.
Right.
What are you, crazy? I think one of the things that he did right, paid, and he rightfully should have, he paid the guys doctor bills and he sent them money.
Okay.
I hate to say we're all without sin, pick up the first rock.
Right.
I think he's paying for it dearly. I think it must haunt him. I'm sure we've all been through something in our life that we said, gee, I should have done this differently. But am I going to throw him on the bus and say, this and that about him? He was good to me. He was good to Andrew.
Well, I've heard him say that he considers you a very close friend. And I think that's why the fans are asking, like, what are your thoughts?
And he doesn't have many friends. And I think,
Is that by his own design?
no, I think,
Is it because he's really boring?
I mean, Kevin, you know what? Let's get to the bottom of this. Kevin, I respect you irreversibly. What is it about him that makes people tune into him? He is boring as fuck. He doesn't do anything to, we're old school. We do old school approach.
right.
What is it about Hannibal? Explain it. Because as coming from our end,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay.
He's not funny. He's not original. He's not creative. He's a fucking snooze fest. Now that I'm done,
Okay.
I think I'm okay. But explain to me, what is it? I had to, you prick. What are you laughing about? I had to.
When you see his matches,
Yeah, he sucks. What about him?
he beats
He sucks.
He beats people up.
Okay, so did plenty of other true greats.
No. Here's where I'm going.
True greats used to beat people
No,
up. He's
but-
not truly great. Go ahead.
No, but here's where I'm going.
Fuck you, Hannibal. Next.
And in this day and age,
Not bad.
when
Go ahead.
everything is so choreographed,
Okay.
he did it with Terry Funk.
Yeah.
He did it with Lanny
Ah, that was
Poffo.
lame. Next.
He did it with
That
a
was lame. Say it.
he did it with a bunch of people
Right.
where he kind of beat them up.
Okay.
So
okay.
you're sitting there and watching wrestling,
Right.
and you guys know the inside. They
okay.
only see what's presented to them.
Okay.
Usually, probably edited very well.
I'm not denying his professionalism.
Okay,
I mean,
but
he's
what I'm getting
obviously
at is-
working. It's working for him. I get it.
And it's not now because of that mistake.
That one referee thing.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
It's not work. He used to go, PCW Ultra.
Okay.
He was going to Texas.
All right.
Well,
Do you think,
Okay.
Kevin, be honest,
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Do you
were
think-
great in Texas.
do you
but
think the problem is that he wanted to be a pro wrestling star so bad, like a
Yes.
Kevin Sullivan,
okay.
that obviously you went to these interviews because that wasn't happening, but do you think it haunts him that it's like, look, the dude's definitely a huge guy.
He's done great
definitely
on YouTube.
dangerous.
I'm not going to deny that.
I wouldn't take him
Done
on.
great.
He'd rip my head off and shit down my
I'm
neck.
not fucking
I get
with
it.
him. I agree.
But do you think that's what drives this dude nuts?
I think the other thing that drives him nuts is, and I don't know, I'm just taking his word, that he had a WWE contract.
Right.
And then when it came up, the
Right.
hepatitis, and he got it from Abdullah.
Right.
I think that really sent him into depression.
Okay.
I think Hannibal has in his life, he's adopted.
So am I.
Yeah,
Fuck
but
him.
but his parents, his grandmother, who he was close to,
Yeah.
died very young.
Okay.
He's had a lot of shit, but the thing is, Mike, you've come closest. He wanted to be a wrestler in the 70s and 80s
Right.
when people thought it might be real.
Right.
He was trying in his head
Okay.
to somehow stand out to get a redo from WWE.
So basically, what you're thinking is
Interesting.
that
All right.
he sees. Look, obviously, people know who the guy
All right.
is.
Right.
For
Hey,
sure.
he's done
He was
well.
taking that
Not
opportunity. He's
denying.
like, you know what? Because he got a lot of heat. Like, at TMZ. If TMZ's right?
Right.
So he's like, let me bring attention to myself. Let me,
Right.
blade this kid. Or not kid. I keep getting in trouble for saying kid.
Yeah, well, you know,
But
you
blading
have
this
a right,
referee or
but-
whatever he did
Right.
to him, and let
Right.
me go overboard and let me see what kind of attention it garners.
Right.
Right, and
Did SWE Fury sink because he left?
no, they were gone. He was working for World Class.
So SWE Fury was already sinking themselves.
SWE, Tom went on. He's got a show, I believe, in the end of March or early April. He's putting a girls' league together
Okay.
in Vegas, and he's got a venue
Okay.
at one of the casinos. So I think Tom, who I enjoyed being around, enjoyed working for, I think Tom saw a chance with some money behind him, because women wrestling is very hot right now.
Very hot.
Absolutely.
Very hot.
Absolutely.
We brought Outback Jack's wife said to me, because we were in the same building today, she said, and we were sitting by each other, she said, I am shocked the crowds the girls are getting.
Right. Right.
And I looked, and the girls' lines were longer than the guys' lines.
Dude.
Well, I'll tell you from someone that watches.
He's always been
I'm
on
all
that.
about the
Yeah,
women, and
he's
they're
Why
actually
do I have a hard
old.
time with this?
They're actually old school. They keep it old
Yeah,
school,
not
and
that
they're
old
very
school.
talented.
Well, they're
Let
talented.
me. Here's something disturbing that I want to bring up to you. Right, I was watching a documentary, and it was basically, about the whole WCW switch where Nash and Hall go over to check kind of the Monday Night Wars thing. But I almost thought this was offensive, and I wanted to get your viewpoint on this. And I know you're close with him, but Nash says in this documentary when he was leaving the WWE, he didn't want to go. He was walking,
He was reluctant.
right?
That's
He
true.
was walking into a program that had Hogan throwing the Giant off the roof of the Cobo Arena.
What did that kill him?
And the Dungeon
Anyway.
of Doom.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
it was a joke.
Right.
What were your thoughts about
And,
that?
and he was right, because I had planned it that way. Look what I did. I put all of Hogan's buddies in one shot. I had to get his to trust me, because I think I've said this to you before. He was starting to get booed out of the building.
True.
I needed him to turn heel, but everybody was in his ear, whether it was his agent, his lawyer, other people around him. You can't turn heel, you can't turn heel.
So are you saying that you wrote it so poorly to force a heel turn?
Well, I also didn't write it all myself,
Okay.
because
Were you
okay,
behind the
great.
heel turn for Hogan?
He stayed at my house that night.
You were behind the heel turn
Absolutely.
for Hogan. Wow, you are a fucking genius.
He
That was
stayed
fucking
behind
amazing.
in my house, so
Wow.
no one could get him.
Was
He slept-
Hogan afraid to turn heel?
Yes.
What was this like when you broke this to him? This is amazing.
Well, what happened was, and you guys may remember this, we were in Chicago, which was a heel town. He came out dressed not in the red and yellow that night. He came dressed in all black
Okay.
with a black bandana.
okay,
And he went out to interview Gene live,
okay.
and the whole building booed. And Gene, being a genius, said, "You can hear the samba move tonight." From the people, saved it.
So Gene on the improv was able
Yeah,
to.
and I went right to him that night, and I said, "You think I'm right?
It's time.
It's time."
It's time.
And so at the very last night, I lived a mile from the Ocean Center where the event took place.
Okay, okay.
I said, "You're staying at my house." Well, I opened the door. He comes to my house. His agent's with him.
Okay. Okay.
I had a 3-bedroom house.
All right.
I put Hogan in another bedroom. The guy starts to go to the other bedroom. I said, "You're sleeping on the couch. I want to keep my eye on you." we waited. Put the TV on.
How
when
frightened
the first,
was Hulk Hogan? I mean, he must have been.
because we don't like change. Nobody likes
This
change.
must have been terrifying to Terry Bollea.
Yeah, because that's all he knew. But
Did you know it was going to work?
he was a great heel in Japan.
Did you know it
Yes.
was going to work?
It was the only. I've heard stories about Sting and Mabel and all this. You couldn't do it, Sting, because he was a WCW guy.
Right. Right.
What said New York more than Hulk Hogan?
Nothing. Nothing.
So I have Nash, Hall,
You got Razor.
and
Diesel.
I got Hulk Hogan, the
got
biggest
the
star in the
incredible
wrestling
Hulk Hogan.
business, turning heel.
Right.
If you go back to that video, they're standing ankle deep in trash.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen
And it
anything
was
like
it revived his career.
Right. Right.
And you got to remember this too. You guys remember Hulk when he was up here.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He started to have back problems when it came to us.
Okay.
He was stooped over. Do you remember the finger point of doom that he came up with?
Yep.
Go back and look at it, and look at the difference in size between him and Nash.
Right.
You
right.
think he wanted to work with Nash that night?
Right.
Nash has taken the heat all these years. He's been a good soldier because Kevin was a military guy.
Right.
And he knew to ride the wave. He wasn't going to, and Kevin had put away a lot of animosities against Hulk. So Kevin knew to do the right thing because Hulk wanted that.
So, wait a minute. I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
Nash took a lot of heat because a lot of people said he was a booker.
Yeah,
The finger point of doom, right?
Yeah, that was
He
a-
took the. But you're saying he did the right thing because Hogan couldn't work anymore because of his back.
well, it wasn't that he couldn't work anymore. He didn't want to work with Nash. Because he'd have to give a lot to Nash because he's an aggressive worker.
Gotcha.
And here's the other thing. Kevin had beaten Goldberg, right?
Right. Cattle prod. But
But he beat him.
Cattle prod.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The belt goes to
I
Kevin.
get it.
Because
I
he's the
lived it.
booker. He's
I
the
lived
booker.
it.
And everybody
Yep.
said, well, he did that because he was the booker. Mm-hmm. He dropped the belt to Hogan
Right.
the next week, right?
Right. Right.
Did that help Kevin?
Why did I enjoy that, by the way?
What?
Am I the only one? I
Enjoy what?
loved the figure poke. I thought it was cool. Was that your idea, by the way? The
No,
figure
I thought it
poke?
was horrible.
Well, at the time, I thought it was actually great because they
Because
milked
the
us, they
NWO
milked us for 3 hours, and then it was the.
I'm kinda-
I thought it was
With all
cool.
due respect, I'm kind of with Kevin on this.
I
felt like
understand.
you just had Nash beat Goldberg.
I
You could
get
have went
it.
a little further with it.
I get it.
Let me ask you this.
I thought it was shock TV. It worked for me.
Monday Night
but-
Wars, you're a huge part of that, back and forth. When was the moment that Kevin Sullivan realized we're going to lose this war?
Ooh,
When they got Tyson.
when they got Mike Tyson.
Why?
You ruined everything.
Mike Tyson.
There's your moment.
Mike Tyson and Steve Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I came into the building, and Asher said this in an interview with Steve Austin because Austin asked him a question. He said, Kevin came up to me and said, the water's getting deeper than I thought it was going to get. And it's a lot colder, isn't it? Kevin laughed like hell. I knew.
Austin was
We were having Dennis Rodman.
right.
Which was great.
That
Yeah,
was great.
it was great.
And Karl Malone. That was great.
But they weren't Mike Tyson.
No,
Yeah.
they weren't. They were not.
And
True.
unfortunately, Hogan at this time was not Steve Austin. Steve Austin portrayed a character that is similar to him.
You guys had
And-
Steve Austin in WCW.
Yeah.
Did you see what
Yeah.
was coming? I mean,
No, I didn't see him being Stone Cold, but I knew he was going to be a big star. He had
Okay.
everything. But
okay.
they matched up well. It was like, in my head, it's back in the day when they took wrestling more serious. Who would win between Lou Thez and
Right.
or Inoki and Ali? You know,
Right.
that debacle they had.
Right. Thez and Gagne or Thez
Yeah,
and Sammartino.
yeah.
I got you.
So and the character they created was the guy. And to this day, I think at that period of time, Vince was the greatest heel in the business.
Absolutely, Mr. McMahon.
Still
Yeah.
probably the greatest heel.
He
in history.
Yeah,
may be
yeah.
the greatest heel ever.
Yeah,
Quite
and,
honestly.
and Austin played take this job and shove it.
Yeah.
And he did it creative,
Top
and
shelf.
he played to his audience,
Mm-hmm.
the beer drinkers, the wannabe tough guys,
Mm-hmm.
wannabe Steve Austin. He was not the cool NWO.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a kick-ass, badass that drank
Right.
beer, 2 in each hand after the match, and he was slapping the shit out of the boss.
What do you think WCW could have done after the obvious mistakes happened and everybody was a member of the NWO? I heard the Pharaoh was the member of the NWO. Let's not get into that. But, what do you think could have happened to continue the war on an effective, competitive basis?
When
What would Kevin Sullivan have
he
done?
couldn't, because the North Tower, even though we were drawing 6s and the rest of the programming on the network was drawing a .07,
Okay. Okay.
not who ended up buying it? AOL.
Yep.
Right.
AOL
Right.
looked down on us like we were the circus. They didn't want anything to do with wrestling. And I saw it one time when Eric went over and had a talk with them, and I could tell by his face, they said, we're going to get rid of this. And I think at the end, when they caught up and started to pull away, desperate times brings desperate
Right.
things. And we didn't do a good
Like
job.
huge erection?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Had to.
Major guns.
Major gun.
Major Guns was hot, dude.
Major
I'm sorry.
Gun. Yeah, but it's
I was all in on
but
Major
it's
Guns.
Major Guns.
But I mean, the names, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I mean,
All right, look, I got some fans out there. They want to know: has AEW ever contacted you to book?
no.
What are they, stupid?
No, they're not.
They're stupid. What
they're
are you
doing
kidding
a hell
me?
of a job, and
You think they're doing well in the battle with Vince or no?
well, it isn't head to head, but I think they're doing. Here's the.
Can they
thing.
overtake Vince ever?
No.
Seriously, no. Let the Dungeon Master, the Master Booker, can they overtake Vince?
Oh, before you answer that, it's a different product.
Yeah, completely.
AEW is wrestling. Wrestling.
No, it's not. It's Luchasaurus and
no,
Orange
no.
Cassidy.
But it's-
What is that?
it's-
Can they overtake Vince? Can they?
Well, it's very simple. You said it's a different product,
Yeah.
but they on
right.
huge networks.
Okay.
They're on
okay.
huge networks.
That's true.
TNT and TBS still doesn't penetrate the whole country.
No. True.
So
Can they be
it-
a legitimate competition?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
They got some
For
great.
how long? For how long? How long?
You're talking.
How
about
long do you see
you're
this
talking
going
about-
on? Like,
you're talking
is this
about
gonna
a
5 years?
wrestling program,
Right.
Which you said, which has smaller people,
Right.
that type of thing. Against it's an entertainment package.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you see
Right.
wrestlers in the WWE. They're not even wrestlers. We're going to call them entertainers, doing car commercials. It's a different planet.
Are
I don't
they-
think it's.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
think they're
wait.
the
Are
same.
they the
Sir,
AFL
let me
to
tell
the
you how
NFL?
simple this is.
Good.
Two of the biggest box office attractions in movies are former wrestlers.
Thank you.
Right.
They're entertainers.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And they're bigger than life.
Right.
Physically.
Right.
Yes.
This is wrestling on the other side.
Okay.
And one of the things no one's brought up, well, I think we did bring it up for a short period, Cody defecting.
Right.
Now, I think, did we talk about this on the air before we before we went on the air? About, I think Cody's got a great deal there, probably.
Right.
He's smart. As I said, his father's brilliant.
Sure.
He's got it in paper, but I know he's going to get on the creative team.
I agree.
He didn't go there not to be on the
No.
creative team.
I
By the way,
agree.
he's got to bring his wife. It's a mistake
I
if he
want
doesn't
his
bring
wife.
his wife.
But just standing next to him as an additive,
All right.
not a preservative.
Look, we've gone.
That's my
we've
opinion.
We've gone really long, Kevin.
So
Incredible
what?
interview.
He rules.
Clearly,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with the Pharaoh's final
What?
question.
Already?
Unscripted.
This is
Whatever
not.
the Pharaoh decides. Was you've been through
I
this
don't
before?
even know what to ask him. This is
You got
horrible.
some chicken parm coming. We're good. We got some wine. We're
this
good to
is
go.
rough.
Pharaoh's final question.
All right, what do
for
you guys?
the great
What do
Kevin
you guys?
Sullivan.
What do you guys bringing Ace Frehley down?
That's
you
the question.
Jackass, you boy.
Let's ask Andrew, the bodyguard.
All right, well,
It's
let's
like
get you the bodyguard.
they're doing the Whitney Houston moving Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
That's
Part
Except-
two. Part two.
Except when the guy comes
That
to
is
kill Ace,
rough.
Yeah.
Andrew's heading back to
That
New
is
Jersey.
rough. This is rough.
Oh, you want to kill Ace? Good luck. Take him. I'm out of here.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Hey, Tommy Thayer. Tommy Thayer.
Wait, hold on.
This is
Hey,
rough.
Andrew.
Andrew, get Ace down here and get him on a show.
Andrew.
Love Pharaoh.
Andrew.
Aye.
Andrew,
Unbelievable.
would you rather Ace get
This
killed
is-
or will you protect him?
this
I
is
don't really
rough.
want to answer that. I'm gonna go home.
This is rough. All right, I'm gonna give it a shot, Kevin. If you were, which you should be, for the record, if you were currently writing for the WWE, what would you do to ensure that this AEW headache dies?
First of all, he's in complete control. From what I hear,
Let's say he's going to listen to you.
He's.
Let's say he entertains Kevin Sullivan's thoughts
What are we
and
gonna
applies them.
And we're going to have visions next. You and
Yeah,
I,
we
right?
might as well be
But-
delusional
but
with the answer. But
do
go
I
ahead.
see? He is on a path that he doesn't even use the word wrestlers. They're
Right.
superstars.
Right. True.
Mike has said this time and time again.
True.
They're entertainment. It's like
True.
It's the difference between watching a football game and the old
True.
Ed Sullivan show.
Thank
Do you?
you.
But do you
Thank
really
you.
think though? Because I don't, and maybe there's something wrong with me, and you can tell me off the air. That's fine. That
I'll
Vince
tell you right now,
McMahon.
there's something wrong with you.
Oh well, there is something wrong with me. But let's not get it. Do you really telling me that Vince McMahon doesn't understand what pro wrestling's all about?
No, I think Vince McMahon has gone beyond that.
Wait a minute.
I mean,
Wait a minute.
doesn't
I'll
he do-
answer this real simple.
hit it.
They made $1 billion last year.
Right. Right.
What does he care about wrestling?
So true.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it doesn't really matter.
And
Vince,
Roman Reigns is his muse right now.
will Vince remain king during all of this nonsense with AEW?
His mother lived to 101,
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
so he's going to what, another 24
He's
years?
got-
So the Dungeon Master, I'm asking you for prediction.
Wait a minute, hold on.
No, I
one,
gotta have
one thing
this,
we've
though.
learned now that
What?
Kevin said that
What?
nuclear war,
Yeah.
Cher,
Yeah.
cockroaches,
Can I add a few names?
the Pharaoh,
Right.
and
Thank
Vince
you.
McMahon.
Right. And Keith Richards and Bob Dylan. I'll throw them in. But at the end of the day, does Vince McMahon win this imaginary internet war?
It's not a war.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, sir.
It's not a war.
There's not
Thank
a
you.
war.
There's
Thank you.
nothing like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like, I said this before. You know what it's exactly like? You say you got a vehicle, I say I got a vehicle.
right.
You got a Mercedes-Benz,
Me?
I got a Harley-Davidson.
I got a Toyota.
They're both vehicles, but they're completely
Whatever it
different.
A comment from Davio out there. Paul
Davio.
Paul Heyman would crap a gold brick if Kevin Sullivan came the creative.
Day.
All right, with
I can
that,
see Paul
I
doing
want to
that.
thank you again, as always, the co-host of In the Dungeon, which you catch on the Monty DeFaro
Thank you,
Network,
guys.
along with his partner Andrew Anderson and the great Matty Rock.
Yep.
How's it dealing with Matty Rock?
Oh, he's great.
He is great, right?
He's great.
He's great.
We got Matty Ice. You got Matty Rock.
And how's it
All right.
dealing with Andrew? Andrew really is like Switzerland, right? He just
Oh.
he won't go any way. He'll stay there.
yeah.
I like Ace Frehley and Tommy Thayer both.
Real quick,
Oh,
I want
that's
you to
rough.
promote your wife's book. Tell people where to get it. What's it about?
Yeah, you were nice enough to plug it. It's
She was awesome.
Old
Great guest.
school,
Old school.
Ring Squid. You can get it on Amazon. She was supposed to come this week, but she had.
What
prior
happened? You
engagement.
locked her up in the basement?
Yeah,
What happened?
She had prior engagements. She couldn't come back and forth.
Hannibal's got her in that
Yeah,
hole.
yeah.
Hannibal has her in that deep hole in his
Yeah.
room. We'll put the lotion on the basket.
But I appreciate you guys, and you're doing a
Absolutely.
great job, guys.
Thanks for
Thank
bringing
you.
her on here for us.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
We
it.
love you, and thanks to gentlemen
Yes,
like
sir.
you, Tony Atlas,
Yes, sir.
Andrew Anderson. We've gained all these other shows. Everybody knows that Jesse Ventura is going to have a show on the
Oh,
network.
my God.
We've got
That's
we've got
insane.
rap artists coming out. We got this big
We got
announcement.
the bodyguard of
We-
Elvis Presley.
We just signed a whole bunch
I
of contracts, so
can't.
this channel is going to have so much content.
Yeah.
Eventually, indie music, the sign behind you there, Kevin, is we're looking for indie music to become the next serious
Why not?
radio.
Why the hell
and
not?
why not?
Why
we got the
not?
greatest booker in time. So, Andrew, do me a Andrew, sorry,
That's
Kevin, do
Kevin.
me. I know, Kevin,
Andrew's
do me a
Gordon
favor.
Freely.
Send the show out, please.
Oh, Kevin gets
Well,
close to the show.
All my friends that have been kind enough to write in, this is the #1 show for wrestling. These guys are very knowledgeable. And tune in every week to Monty and the Pharaoh, the wrestling geniuses.
That was the Dungeon Master speaking the truth. Later.